ambiguous and curious stuff, then I would start by reading a straight poem, just to show that I can do straight poems, that kind of have rhymes and things like that. It's about Scott LaFaro, the great jazz double bass player who died young in a car crash, played with Bill Evans a lot. So this is the first thing, remembering Scott LaFaro. Shed notes leave the double bass, a gentle heart strongly held, for who's absolved from the play of the mind. Wind and light move the leaves, day and night leave no moves, scored and cut my foolish heart. From now on it gets wacky. John alluded in his scholarly way to my interest in Chinese poetry, which is among the classical Chinese poetry, going back to the 7th century AD and lasting pretty much up until into the beginning of the 20th century, is the most avant-garde poetry that any language has ever had, in that it suppresses all the connectives, so that you read a kind of lattice of what the poem is about, but it doesn't tell you whether there's one person or two people. It doesn't tell you whether things happening in the future or has already happened. It doesn't tell you whether there's a protagonist who's speaking to you or somebody that you're looking at. It doesn't tell you the gender. So all of the things that could be left free and easy are left open, and for the reader to reinterpret. Now, this isn't quite as mad as it sounds, because a lot of the poems have a genre to them. There are poems about saying farewell to friends, or poems about your wife's death or whatever, all of which have a kind of automatic rhetoric and the poem would fall into place. But quite a lot of them are a lot looser. And what I've done with the poems that I'm going to read on each of the 3 nights is to get deliberately a lot looser than I normally would, in order to make it more akin to improvisation. So these are 3 versions which sinologists would raise 2 or 3 eyebrows at after 7th, 8th, 9th century AD Chinese poems. So these are 3 versions of the same poem by Su Hun. Night, distant guitar, precisely winding out, growing from, light gleaming interstices, silver shakes off glitter, clearly close, clearly clear, rough patches ahead, changing, descent serpentine, awake, awoke, billows, undulations. I should say that it mentions a guitar, because this version was written for John Russell and wrote most of the original instrument in Chinese is a zither, but there are eminent versions by professional sinologists where it's translated as harp, which it isn't, or lute, which it isn't, or violin, which it isn't. So I've taken the odd liberty. Okay, here's another, next version. Midnight zither far off plays, west wind stirs underbrush, fireflies illumine dew, geese brush river silver, tall trees pay back dawn, light folds mountains, one falling leaf butterflies, affecting a storm. And the final one. Far night, strings afloat, western style, growing, glowing, firefly perched on jade, feather brushing river silver, known, told, yet secret, many, even more changes, fall leaf descending, cigarette smoke thread, aware. And that was also written for John Russell and Roper Mercer, as you can see a while ago, because it still refers to the once ubiquitous cigarette. The character in Chinese that means smoke, like the smoke from a kitchen chimney or whatever, also now means cigarette smoke, so there was a rationale behind it. Okay, and the last thing, which is a little bit longer, Dominic Lash moved briefly to the United States and was expecting that he was going to be moving there permanently, and there was a very splendid farewell party at Cafe Oto down the road, and I emceed it, and I wrote a poem for Dom. which was partly thinking about the double bass and about his playing of it, and also because I like that kind of thing by looking up the word bass in the Oxford English Dictionary and using bits of all the definitions, which included a lot of things that had nothing to do with the musical instrument, including the bass, the fish called the bass. So some of the vocabulary here, if you take make the increments small enough, you can make the language about anything pretty much. So I wrote the poem with a lot of loose little snippet semi-stanzas, and then put them together in an order that made sense. And I've read it several times since, where I've, apart from the beginning and the end, which are fixed, rejigged the order. And I thought I should make it more improvisatory than usual, so I did this using a random number generator. So I don't know the order that the stanzas are going to come in, whether it's going to work or not, which is part of the essence and the charm and the joy of improvisation, is that you can fall flat on your face. So maybe I will. Anyway, this is called Bass Adds Bass, which is titled after a wonderful avant-garde pop song by the band Family Fodder. So Bass Adds Bass for Dom Lash and his bass. Bass adds bass, wrapping round a line, taking it for a walk, stand up, upright, holding immediacy, no abstract, nothing. Setting the rhythm, minute, particular, under the song, determinedly indeterminate. Mechanisms of affinity closely modelled, suspended in difference, indifference suspended. Characterised by abundance and excess, dance of power and weight, a firm and fast footing and harmonious development, hand over hand. So add a little bass, a low wave become audible. A disruption into form, force expended to an end, strong, active and voracious. Brushed, dragged and smeared, simultaneously tangled, scraped, wiped and scratched. The process accentuated. Whence the bass, nearly black, dark and impure, brimful of content, translated to immediacy. A soft boom, a hoarse roar, bringing objects before the mind in definite thought. Change the phrase, change the phase. In the beginning, what was there? In the first place, start from being. The end not identical with the object. Thus, after the beat, thrum and pulse, it's a bass. Thank you very much.